You know, Kenyan elections are always incredibly high-stakes events. So much passion, so much scrutiny. And as we all look ahead to 2027, there's this really big question hanging in the air. Can technology, specifically AI, actually help make the vote more secure? All right, let's get into it.
So to really get why this question is so urgent, we've got to look back a bit. I mean, as Eric Kurudi puts it here, Kenya's electoral history is a mix of real triumphs and, well, some serious turbulence. We're talking disputes, instability, and that history, that's the backdrop for everything we're about to discuss.
And that brings us right to the source for today's explainer. It's an article from Business Daily Africa, and it dives headfirst into these historical problems. The big idea it explores is whether a cutting-edge technology like artificial intelligence could be a total game-changer for building trust in 2027.
Okay, so what do we even mean when we say AI in this context? The article keeps it simple. It's basically about machines doing things that normally require human intelligence, right? Like spotting weird patterns in huge piles of data or figuring out what might happen next. The goal here isn't to replace people, not at all. It's to give them a kind of superpower to help manage a fair election.
All right, so where do you even start? Well, the foundation of any election you can trust is the voter list. And according to the article, this is the first and maybe the most important place where AI could really step in and make a huge difference. I mean, if you look back, the voter roll has always been a major flashpoint. You've got these constant stories about ghost voters, names on the list that shouldn't be there, people showing up registered more than once. It all just creates this cloud of doubt over the entire process right from the get-go.
So how could AI actually clean this up? Well, the idea is a three-pronged attack, really. First, you'd use AI with biometrics to catch duplicates and other weird stuff with a level of precision humans just can't match. Second, the system would flag anything sketchy in real time. And third, it would constantly check the voter list against other official databases to make sure it's always accurate.
Okay, so once you have a clean voter list, the next challenge is the election itself. And it's really a battle on two different fronts: what's happening online and what's happening on the ground.
Think about it. On the digital side, we've seen social media get weaponized with fake news and hate speech, really stirring up tensions. And then in the real world, the logistics are just mind-boggling. I mean, trying to get all the right election materials to all the right places securely and on time, it's a massive, massive job. And just to put that logistical challenge into perspective, check out this number. We're talking about managing over 40,000 polling stations across 47 different counties. That number alone shows you the incredible scale of what the Electoral Commission is up against.
So where does AI fit into this battlefield? Well, for the online part, you can train it to scan social media and spot those big, coordinated disinformation campaigns before they do too much damage. And for the physical logistics, it can streamline supply chains, predict where the holdups are going to be, and even use data to flag potential security hotspots before trouble starts.
All right, now we get to what the article calls the most difficult part of any Kenyan election: the moment the votes are counted and the results are sent in.
I mean, this is the stage where public trust can just completely fall apart. There's always this fear that results could be tampered with as they're being sent, or that the numbers from the polling station won't match the numbers at the next level up. It just creates so much suspicion, and that can explode into major disputes.
So the AI solution here is really a one-two punch. First, you have algorithms trained to spot things that just don't look right in the data. Like a polling station reporting 110% turnout. It would flag that immediately for a human to check. Then, and this is a really interesting part, the article suggests using blockchain. Think of it like a super secure digital receipt book that can't be changed. Every result gets logged, creating a completely tamper-proof record.
Now, all of this sounds amazing, right? But the article is super clear on this point. AI is not some magic wand you can just wave. If you're going to do this, you have to be very, very careful because it comes with some pretty serious risks.
It's really a double-edged sword. On one hand, you have the promise of way more transparency and efficiency, which could build a ton of trust. But on the other hand, you've got the danger. What if the AI itself is manipulated? What about all the data privacy issues? And if people don't understand how it works, it can actually create more suspicion, not less. So, to avoid those dangers, the article lays out some things that are absolutely non-negotiable. You need crystal clear laws and regulations for how AI is used. Protecting people's data has to be priority number one. And you've got to launch a huge public education campaign to pull back the curtain on AI so everyone understands what's happening with their vote.
At the end of the day, this whole conversation goes way beyond just technology. Deciding whether or not to bring AI into an election, that's a massive test for democracy itself.
So what's the big takeaway from the article? It's pretty clear. The old way of doing things just isn't cutting it anymore against these huge challenges of distrust and complexity. AI isn't a perfect solution, but it is a powerful, transformative tool, but only if it's used with extreme care and strong ethics.
And that leaves us with a really powerful question the article poses. As Kenya, and honestly countries all over the world, look at this technology, the real challenge is making sure it works for the people, to strengthen democracy, not to control it. Is AI going to be a servant to democracy, or will it become its master? That's the choice that could define the future of elections.